Hello fellow Guardians, my name is Expertin and Season 18 is almost upon us, which means that Arc 3.0 is nearly here. So in this video, I will be highlighting the 9 best Arc 3.0 exotics, 3 per class, to help you guys prepare for Arc 3.0 next season. Alright you guys, starting this list off with the Warlocks. Our first exotic on this list is the Stag. And the Stag's perk is Dearly Departed. Your Rift provides damage reduction to allied guardians standing in it. Grants Rift energy when you are critically wounded on your death and creates a healing rift on your corpse. The Stag has always been a great option for endgame because basically what it does is whenever you're standing in a rift, whether it be you or your allies, you will get significant damage reduction, and this is very powerful. And not only that, but whenever you are red bar, also known as becoming critical, it will give you a significant chunk of your rift energy back so that you can chain it back to back. And whenever you die, it also creates a healing rift on your corpse for your allies. Now, the Stag on its own isn't that great, but the main reason why I put this as number 1 on this list is because when paired with Stormcaller's bottom tree perk, Arc Soul, your rift now grants you and an ally that stands in it an Arc Soul to aid you in battle. So whenever you drop your rift, you're giving you and your allies a lot of damage reduction. And you're also giving your allies an Arc Soul, which will help with dealing damage to nearby enemies, which is awesome. And now for the second exotic for Arc 3.0 Warlocks, we have STORMDANCER'S Brace. What this exotic does is Ascending Amplitude. Each target that you defeat with Storm Trance, it will increase the damage you deal with your super and refund super energy when your super ends. So as you are killing enemies with your Storm Trance, which is the super, it will consecutively increase the damage of the super, and you will get a set amount of super energy back, up to 50%, depending on how many enemies you kill with your Storm Trance before it runs out. And when this is paired with Top Tree's Transcendence perk, which reads, when cast with a full grenade and full melee energy, it will make your super last substantially longer. Like I'm talking 2 times longer, and it will also fully heal you to full health, which is great for survivability. And also, the Arc Web perk. Enemies damaged by your grenades will chain deadly lightning to nearby enemies. Each grenade or melee chain will return grenade energy. This also synergizes well with that exotic, because as we're hitting enemies with our super, it's going to give us grenade energy. And moving on to our last exotic for Arc 3.0 Warlocks, we have the Crown of Tempests. And this has conduction times. Arc ability kills will increase your charge rate of your arc abilities, and extend the duration of Storm Trance. So when we're getting kills with our arc abilities, it will increase the regen rate of all of our abilities and allow us to spam all of our arc abilities over and over, which will be great for Arc 3.0 next season, where it's obviously going to be all about arc abilities. And it also extends the duration of our Storm Trance, so it will last longer. And that exotic also pairs well with Arc Web, because Crown of Tempest is all about spamming your abilities and stuff. As we're chaining those kills with our arc grenades and our arc melee attacks, it's going to return us grenade energy so we can keep feeding into our abilities and getting them back over and over again. Alright, now we're going to move on to the Arc 3.0 Titan exotics. Okay, next up, Titans, arguably the most popular of the Arc classes so far because of this exotic here, the Curious of the Falling Star. This is a meta-defining exotic. This is one of the best exotics in the game, and the reason being is because what this exotic does is Glorious Charge. It greatly increases your Thunder Crash damage. And not only that, but when you use your Thunder Crash, depending on how far that you travel with your Thunder Crash, it will also give you an overshield, which is very helpful for if you're about to die. You know, it's a panic button and it just gives you an overshield, so it saves you. And our next exotic here is an insurmountable SKULLFORT. Now this exotic is nowhere near as popular as the last exotic, but it's still underappreciated in my opinion. And what this exotic perk is Transfusion Matrix. Kills with arc melee abilities will trigger health regeneration and restore melee energy. So all this means is that whenever you kill an enemy with your punch or your melee, it will heal you over time, and it will restore melee energy, so you're constantly getting your melee back after you use it. And when you pair this with Frontal Assault, which will give you a weapon damage bonus and as well as a reload speed bonus for your current weapon whenever you punch an enemy, and Knockout, which will substantially increase your melee lunge range as well as damage whenever you kill an critically wounded enemy or you break an enemy's shield. That makes this exotic that much more viable to use for Arc 3.0 next season. And our last exotic for my Arc 3.0 Titans that I'm recommending are the DUNEMARCHERS. And DUNEMARCHERS, these are an OG exotic. This is a fan favorite right here. A lot of people love this exotic. But anyways, what this does is linear actuators. Increases your spread speed, which doesn't really matter. That's not the big thing here. But the big thing here is that whenever you sprint, it will build up a static charge. And what this means is that as you're sprinting, you will get this melee charge, basically. And after you strike an enemy with your punch or your melee, it will chain an arc chain effect to nearby enemies. It's sort of like the arc web grenade, if you're familiar with that. And it's very good. It's really good for ID clearing and clearing rooms. And a lot of people use this exotic for speed running strikes or in PvP, just being a tyrant, just chaining it to nearby guardians. It can be pretty annoying in PvP. But yeah, those are the top 3 Arc 3.0 exotics for Titans. And for our last class, we're going to move on to the Hunters. And lastly, for the weakest of the Arc 3.0 classes, at least in my opinion personally, we have the top 3 Arc 3.0 exotics for the Hunter. Firstly, starting off with Liar's Handshake, one of the more powerful of the Arc 3.0 exotics for the Hunters. What it does is cross counter. Using your arc melee or being hit by a melee will allow you to follow up with an extremely powerful melee counter punch that will heal you. And this counter punch is no joke. It is very powerful, very devastating. It's pretty good, and it also heals you too. So you punch a target with your normal basic melee, and then your second melee is going to be the kind of like this special powerful melee counter punch that will heal you and do a lot of damage. And this exotic pairs very, very well with Top Tree's combination blow. And what combination blow does is whenever you kill an enemy with your melee attack, it will trigger health regeneration, which will heal you over time and increase your melee damage, which stacks up to 3 times. So as you're killing enemies and punching enemies with your very potent counter punch from your Liar's Handshake, you're going to be healing yourself to help you stay alive and giving yourself a nice damage buff for your melee punches. And for the second Arc 3.0 exotic for the Hunters, we have one of the most popular Arc exotics in the game, RAIDEN FLUX. One of my favorites. And what this does is Synapse Junctions. Quick successive attacks with your arc staff will increase its damage output and duration. So, basically, whenever you get very quick hits on enemies with your arc staff, your super, it will increase the duration and it will also prolong the duration of your arc staff. So you can dish out a lot more damage and a single arc staff super. Very good exotic for your arc staff super. And it pairs well with Middle Tree's Whirlwind Guard. And what Whirlwind Guard states is whenever you block with your Whirlwind Guard, it will deflect all incoming projectiles. Whether it be projectiles or bullets from enemies. And whenever you deflect these said projectiles, you will triple the damage of your arc staff. Which pairs perfectly with our Radiant Flux, because this buff does stack with that. And it leads to a significant damage buff to your arc staff super. Very good. And for the last Arc 3.0 exotic for the hunters, we have the Lucky Raspberry, one of my favorite arc exotics in the game currently. So much fun. Very good. The perk it has is Probability Matrix. Increases the chaining capabilities of your arc grenade. And it also has a small chance to recharge your grenade whenever you deal damage with it. So when you hit enemies with your arc bolt grenade, there's a small chance it will completely refund it. But here's the kicker. Whenever you successfully complete a full chain of your arc bolt grenade, so all the arc bolt links hit enemies, it will completely recharge your grenade and allow you to use it again. So theoretically, as long as you keep on hitting all of your arc bolt chains, you will always have your grenade and you'll be able to spam your arc bolt grenade non-stop. Very, very good for ad clearing in general. And yeah, there you guys have it. Those are the top 9 exotics for Arc 3.0 next season to help get you guys primed and ready to go for when Arc 3.0 launches. Now obviously some of these exotics might be subject to change as far as them being the quote-unquote best Arc 3.0 exotics for each of the classes based on whatever changes that Bungie makes in the future next season to each of the Arc subclasses and the game. But for right now, these are the top 3 exotics for each class that you should be pulling out of your vault or farming for in order to be prepared for next season. If you guys like this recommendation and this guide, please subscribe to my channel. Turn your notifications so you don't miss out on any more of these amazing videos. And I will see you lovely people in the next one.